Hey, good morning, everyone. This isn't a monthly update or anything. I just want to shoot off some things. I haven't been doing the weekly topics because as I said in the last video, I've been painting my house. And so it really preoccupies me. It took me 6 days to do the trim, 2 coats. And it took me 2 days to do the siding on the front of the house. And I have the stucco left. I'm doing this by hand. I have a sprayer, but since I'm not able to do a whole lot, I can take my time. I know the paint's going on thick. I use the Home Depot brand. Well, it's not their brand, but what they carry, Behr. And I get the two-in-one where it's the primer and the paint. It's a little expensive, $40 a gallon, but it's worth it. It lasts a long time. When we painted our house the last time, it's been about 10 years this year that we've painted our house. The sun's faded our summer via color on our stucco, and it kind of looks like a pink now, so that was really irritating me. So anyway, went to the infectious disease doctor, and I still have the valley fever, and I still have a little bit of pneumonia in my right lung. However, she said that if I feel up to things, to go for it. And that if I feel fatigue, you know how far you can push yourself. So basically, what I got from it is I can challenge myself a little bit more. Now, I know that I'm still out of breath, like after I take a shower and I get dressed. When I walk real fast in the stores, Tony has to slow me down because I get out of breath. She suggested that I use the inhaler a little bit more, and like I'm getting ready to go out to the horses today. I haven't been out there in a week and a half. And so I want to go out there, walk them around, give them some exercise. They're in like a pasture. It's not quite as big as a pasture, so they can run and trot. And so they do get. I'm not worried about exercise. Excuse me a minute. Misha Marie, that's enough. So anyway, I got I watched a video from Wesley. For those who don't know Wesley, if you go to Your Pauls, and Pauls is spelled Pawles, an awesome kid, or young man, should I say. To me, a kid, but he's an awesome young man, has a lot of depth and wit, insight, and every time he posts something, he just brings a little bit more to the table for me. Being in my generation and the way I was raised, it helps me to know I'm okay coming out of this or getting out of this box. So he wrote a poem, and it's a little bit, it's very direct. And what it did for me was basically it told it talked to me in a way that you just can't put a label on everything. Um, Sorry, my nose is really, really dry from this medication. But a lot of guys, after they start taking testosterone, find themselves attracted to men and never were before. Uh, I personally didn't understand it. Not that I put anybody down for it, but I guess I didn't understand it. But the way he talks in this poem is like uh, him being in touch with his body, both the female parts and the male parts. You gotta have to go listen to it. But it triggered me to do an update because there are a lot of emotional things that we go through on a day in and day out basis that we don't talk about. Why? Because it may just be a moment. Just might be for the moment. And these are very important things because even though someone else may not experience the same things, there's that 1% that might, and it allows others to know they're not alone. And I have not had any uh, changes as far as what I'm attracted to. Uh, I have had emotional changes through this experience of being even more open-minded than what I was, and not to categorize or not to put anything in a box, or even if I put it in a box is a box. There's walls. To tear down the walls to everything living, to everything breathing, because you just don't know. I mean, even our animals, our insects, our mammals, they've all evolved from one period of time in history to another. So humans are doing the same thing. You know, when I was a kid, my dad used to say, when we would watch cartoons on Saturday, we'd watch the Jetsons, for those of you who remember or know. And he used to tell us kids, that's the way it's going to become one day. And we just kind of, wow, we get to fly in the sky. But you know, honestly, things could happen that way. You look at the movies that come out like Waterworld, I think it was, with Mel Gibson, and how they were in the ocean, and there was no really fresh water, there was no land, and how they fought each other for whatever reasons. But we don't know what's going to happen in the future because we keep evolving. We're very technical. Right now, our lifelines are our phones and computers, and these are even going to be outdated in time. So it's just, you can't put your finger on something, because the minute you have your finger on something, something changes it. And so with the transition, it's helped me to evolve as a person without putting my finger, or trying not to put my finger on anything. When I first talked in the beginning of my videos, you could go back and hear me talk, and even though I was out of the box according to my family and my upbringing, there are still some viewpoints or maybe some opinions that might have been a little bit more narrow, and now they're open more. Every day I wake up, life hands me a bowl of fruit. It's not always pineapple, oranges, apples. Sometimes it's this weird looking berries, this sour looking fruit that is supposed to be really good for you. It just doesn't matter, because every day is a different day. And that's why I say take it one day at a time. Because the minute you think you got things figured out, when you wake up the next morning, something else hits you, or something changes something in the way you think. Transitioning is a whole new life for us. Although we've always saw or thought male through our eyes, but always been perceived as female, and we have this image that we think or feel that we should be. Sometimes when in transition, you find that you're not that image at all. Now with me, uh, I always say I haven't changed. And what I mean by that is, I guess I haven't changed in the way that I react to people, the way I respond to people, uh, general thoughts, feelings, how I handle myself. None of that has changed. But I do understand that what has changed is that I've had to become a lot more open to things that I am come up not against, but come in front of me, especially on YouTube and all the young generations. They totally perceive sex in a different way, their sexual orientations. And I keep going back to myself when I get a little confused, excuse me, is that I think back when my mom and dad were teenagers and Elvis Presley came out. And people thought he was of the devil. He was up there dancing, doing the twist, and dancing to where we don't see any harm in it. But in those days, he was a wild cat, and people didn't want their kids to go see him. They didn't want their kids to fall for him, but they did, and he changed the sound of music, the way it was presented. And then there's of course, the peace time era, where when I was born in the '60s, and people were the John Lennon time. All we want is peace, and the no war and all this stuff. Well, you know what? It's because of these causes that things do change and evolve, and our civil rights have evolved through the years. By, several people. It started with Lincoln. Well, actually, it started with the people who came over to the Americas. They fled a way of life that they did not agree with so they could have freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and they set up this country for that. And that's one thing we have to remember, especially as some people are really hardcore religious people. You don't have to be one religion or another. You don't have to be your religion in order to be a good person and maybe go beyond death. It's just people don't like change, and it's hard for people. I've watched some guys in their transition really meditate and get in tune with their body, and perceive their body in a different way. So all this stuff, all of these little emotions we deal with on a day in and day out basis, they're little things that we don't talk about. But yeah, I guarantee each and every one of us that watches me, that doesn't watch me, that's in transition, whether you are male to female or female to male, every day there's a little something that triggers something. It may be bad, it may be good. But that's all about us learning. And it doesn't mean that other people aren't doing it, the non transition people. Everyday life hands us a story. It may be a short story or it may be a long story. Sometimes people flip through the pages to look at the pictures and don't read the story, so they don't get it. So when life is handing you something, or something's not quite going the way you thought, or it's, for example, it's the same way if you take off somewhere and you didn't make your turn off that one route, and so you had to go the long way around. And then later in the news, you hear that there was a pileup. Sometimes our mistakes, sometimes us not paying attention to what we're doing, and we miss what we wanted to do, there's a reason for everything. Every time I am a prompt person. I do not like to be late. But that few times that I'm late, I tell myself, there is a reason that I was late. I don't know. I may never find out. But I always tell myself there's a reason. So I just wanted to kind of throw those emotions out at you. I'm doing pretty good. I went to the doctor and did some labs. Also, the endo did some labs. My red blood count, which I had spoken before, is very important that you follow those, have those labs done, because men do carry thicker blood, and it can cause strokes, etc., etc., etc. So the levels are 14 to 18, and mine was 14.1. So she was really happy with that. I have been on 100 milligrams weekly for about 6 to 8 weeks, I think it is now. My T level is in the 600s, which I would love for them to be in the 800s, but you know what? They were in the 400s down to the 100s, and I will take 600 over anything. So I have not complained about that. I did ask her if I could self-inject again, and she said yes, I can go ahead and self-inject again. Another thing with me being on this medication for the valley fever is that I'm losing my hair. So I cannot give you an update on hair status because I don't know if you can see it. You see all that? That's bald. I am losing it drastically. Tony told me to quit shaving and let the hair grow out on my face. I'm getting sideburns. I've got neck hair here. You can kind of see a shadow. I got chin hair, and I do have the hair on the lip, except for it's blonde. But the question is, with my hair falling out on my arms, my legs have gotten thinner, my chest has gotten thinner, my belly has gotten thinner, my back is thinner. I wonder how much hair I would really have on the face. I'm looking at taking this medication now she said another at least 6 months. She did inform me that once I quit taking this medication, that it will reverse. I'll get my hair back. So one day I'll be doing a video, and the next week I come back and I'm a burly bear. But anyway, everything's going good. When you see little sores on my lips, My my mouth and my nose is so dry from this medication that I have sores all inside my nose on both sides. I can't even touch my nose. I put ointment in it to keep it kind of moist. It's something I can't prevent. It's terrible. I have to chew gum or suck on some hard candy to keep my saliva glands engaged. I get so cotton mouth that it even hurts to swallow that first swallow of water. So those are the things I'm going through with this sickness. It's one day at a time, you know. But just think about your journey. Think about you as an individual. What has changed about you? Has anything changed about you? What about your way of thinking? How do you represent yourself? How do you respond or react to other people? Now, I will say this, guys, especially to the younger generation. If you feel like you're frustrated, if you feel like you're more aggressive, um, anger, anything like that, negative, for one, maybe you should have your T levels checked because maybe your hormones are out of balance. Doesn't mean T is doing it. But two, remember, T doesn't cause that. T doesn't cause you to be angry. It doesn't cause you to fly off the handle at every little thing. It's you as an individual in the circumstances. So that's what we work on as each other, for each other. The way to be a better person is to work on your own issues. Don't worry about anybody else's issues. Every day work on what gets you there. What doesn't get you there. Anyway, I'm not a philosopher and I'm not a counselor, but I have lived a pretty emotional up and down life because of my situation um, as a gender identity, and so I feel like I do have some things to bring to the table. Anyway, I will see you guys in probably a couple weeks. I'm going to paint my house over the weekend, and maybe Tuesday I'll come up and do a video on an open topic. But until, I think it's going to be another 2 weeks before we start that back up. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I want you guys to take care of yourself. Take it one day at a time. Make your journey as simple as possible. We'll see you later, guys.